Hey everyone, welcome to this video. So recently I finished watching GoGo 5 and I really want to make like a video to appreciate how amazing it was. I want to take a moment to appreciate the suits because I didn't know about Sentai until right before I believe Time Ranger aired. Or not Time Ranger, sorry, Time Force. And that's when I found out about Sentai. So until then, I only knew about Power Rangers. And up until Lightspeed, we had these really nice helmets. We had a visor accompanied by a mouthpiece. Some of them had lips. So when we got to Lightspeed Rescue, I thought, hey, these suits look so plain. Like, where are the mouthpieces? Why is the visor the entire helmet? But once I saw GoGo 5, I just love these suits because they explained them away. They called them the anti-hazard suits, and that makes so much more sense because they resemble those hazmat suits that people wear so they don't get skin to skin contact when dealing with any kind of chemical. And then also, when we saw them converse with each other when they were in their ranger form, we saw the face underneath the helmet. So it's not just a visor for the eyes, it's a whole face shield. So that makes so much more sense. Then there's the henshin. I just love how they turn into the Rangers. Pretty much looks like they were pulling jackets on them and then zipping it up, and it just looks so cool. And that also enforced the fact that it looked like an additional layer of clothing versus Ranger suits. Also, I want to add that I'm, of course, using the Bandai Lightspeed figures. I don't have a set of GoGo 5 figures to represent them as beautifully as these figures do. That's why yellow is female. And sorry if the setup looks awkward. The guy Ranger figures, the legs are just not the greatest. That's why red kind of looks weird. Next topic I want to get into is the lifebird weapons. Whenever I was watching Lightspeed Rescue, it always bugged me that they never elaborated on the individual weapons. We just saw the rescue bird, that's what it was called in Lightspeed Rescue, just appear, and we never really saw them use individual weapons. I think they used the drill here and there, but other than that, the other weapons weren't really used to my knowledge, or if they were used, they never really explained them away. And then we got GoGo 5 that actually explained each and individual weapon, and it's really awesome. And before I start, something very interesting is I actually want to read more up on it, so I went up to one of their Ranger pages on Google. It actually described each of the Rangers' personal weapons because they seem to prefer to use it more. And it actually said that the claw weapon belongs to red, whereas the drill weapon belongs to yellow. However, we pull this drill weapon. Bandai always marketed this weapon as Red Rangers. As you can see, the number 1 logo. Whereas the other weapon, the claw weapon, was packaged with yellow. So I always thought those were the personal weapons until I watched Yellow use it a lot more, and also I think it was a wiki page, I'm not even sure, explained that that was the personal weapon of Yellow. So I thought that was very interesting, kind of blew my mind away. Now for the uses for each of the weapons. So this weapon here, it's more of like a cutter weapon. So it cuts through anything like a monster's armor or like building debris. That's how this was explained. Then there is this one here. This one is a little bit confusing. This dispenses like an antidote. What confuses me about this is is it like a universal medicine that it can cure anything? It just says that it's like an antidote, like medicine, like weapon. Mind you, they weren't actually this big. Like, they were actually quite small, so I don't know why they were made so big. Like, this is like almost half her body size. Then this one here, it acts more like a grappling hook. It can grab onto the monster, or it can take building debris away. Not sure if the claws can actually do much damage, but I think it might be able to. This one here acts like a traditional drill. It can break through armor, building debris. Then finally, Blue Ranger's weapon. This one acts like a fire extinguisher. And we got to see the individual weapons used a lot more in GoGo 5, which I really appreciated. The next weapon that they used a lot more was the Go Blaster. I think in Lightspeed Rescue was called Thermal Blaster. It's that blaster where I can't remember the Sentai name for this, but the battle boosters, they went in inside the gun and then it give it more power. In Lightspeed Rescue, I remember them using those guns very like seldomly, but GoGo 5 used those guns so much more. When they got their new Go Blaster, a second holster would appear on the suit, and I freaking loved that. It was so nice. I really wish the second holster was permanent on their suits once they got the Go Blaster, kind of like Zeo or Ranger. And one thing I love about all Sentai, or I guess it's more for the merchandise, is that the changes that come out, they always have like some of the sounds that you see from the actual season. But technically, because I don't actually watch the Sentai seasons as they come out, like I did with the Power Rangers seasons, that's the opposite effect. Like I have the changer first, and then years after, or immediately after, you get to see the TV show, and it's like, hey, that's the sound from the toy. Like, let me show you guys. The next sound that you would hear is this one. Oops, I went past it. So whenever they spoke with each other, you would hear that little sound before they said anything. One thing I really loved about GoGo 5, and I feel like this is a little bit true for most Sentai seasons, is that it took time to explain the plot of the episode. And how I know this is, for some episodes I watched the Lightspeed Rescue equivalent. Like, for example, let me actually break down not everything, but a certain scene from, it was called Go Volcanic in Lightspeed Rescue. I can't remember what the name it was in GoGo 5. It's the episode where there's volcanic activity and they're kind of monitoring it. And Dana is in a bus in the Lightspeed Rescue version and Matsuri in the GoGo 5 version. And there's a criminal on the bus with the gun. Like, GoGo 5 really foreshadowed it and showed it really nicely without jumping into it. Like, at first, Matsuri is trying to get into the bus, but there's the bag that's like blocking the way, and she somehow gets through. And then there's the older lady in the bus that comes and tells him like he shouldn't be leaving his bag around, he shouldn't be so rude. And then he ends up pushing the old lady. So we see a little bit of build up. Okay, yeah, something's up with this guy. He might be up to no good. And you see him clutching onto the bag. So there's that small build up there. Whereas the Lightspeed version, in most episodes, I've always felt that it was so random. It was just like all the scenes just went like 1, 2, 3 so fast. There was barely much build up or foreshadowing into allowing you to make your own scene in your head to see like, okay, so where's this headed, what's going on. It just was so fast. Even I found it interesting that Matsuri like kept her composure. She didn't want to disturb the peace or anything, whereas Dana just went into it just fighting, grabbing the gun and everything. Like, I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily call that a flaw, but I found it interesting how the two different cultures portrayed that scene in that sense. Now with GoGo 5, I went into it knowing that the 5 main rangers were siblings, but I was not prepared for the villains, and they just blew me away. Like, the Diabolical equivalent, honestly, I'm so sorry, I can't see the name, it's so big. They explained it away why he cared so much about Dinas and Kolbolda, because they're his siblings and he was very overprotective of them and he cared so much for them. And I felt the queen was so much more diabolical in GoGo 5's version, because she pretty much said her children are disposable and they're just there to help her achieve her master plan in taking over Earth and the universe, and ultimately she never really cared for them because they're just pawns. It was really sad, and it was just very interesting seeing that contrast between Lightspeed Rescue and GoGo 5. So I don't know if you guys remember, I was talking about how the GoGo 5 would converse with each other when they were in Ranger form, and you would see their face on the inside of their helmet while they're talking, so it gave more of a realistic feel. Lightspeed Rescue did that a little bit, but they also did a thing of their own where their visor would disappear and you would see like their actual face and the visor would reappear. I always thought that was a GoGo 5 thing. So it's really cool that Lightspeed Rescue did that. And just so you guys aren't confused, I will include a little clip after this to show you guys what I'm talking about. Now, for the GoGo brace, it's something I highly recommend. Oddly enough, I was checking out eBay. There's like barely, actually, there's actually no Lightspeed Rescue morphers. There's maybe one, but though one auction I saw those two, they were like really beaten up. But majority of the sellers are selling this one right here. You actually get it for a decent price. It's not too bad. If you're buying it mint, not even opened, yeah, it's gonna cost you like $700. But don't even bother getting it mint. Even if it's used and in good condition, I would say go for it. This is such a nice little gadget. There's so much more you can do in this compared to the Rescue Morpher. And you have like two games. You have like more like sound features because the Rescue Morpher only had three. This one has five because two of them are games. So it's really fun to play. I almost forgot one more thing. So the Sentai equivalent of the Battle Boosters, I love how they used it a lot more than the Power Rangers version. And it worked very similarly to the Battleizer from Power Rangers in Space, where they could really pack a punch, enter a code, and punch the villain. And I found that really cool. It's sad that Lightspeed Rescue really didn't utilize that as much. So that's really cool. Actually, that was a selling point for me. For me, it's like, hey, I love that. So I might actually get one from eBay. But again, if it's too expensive, I won't bother. But it is pretty cool. But thank you guys so much for watching. I can't recommend GoGo 5 enough. It's such an amazing season. Would love to hear from you guys what you guys thought if you guys saw the season. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. It really does help. Thank you and have a wonderful day.